different people from government and serve people in the play the own partner the journalism field for can't talk about the world radio they we salon the general country them for celebrate people remember say inside any year February 13 a day where the United Nations been set aside for make countries and come together and celebrate the good work we ready to do, and this all in start from November 2011 where the United Nations General Assembly been put this day aside for make countries and come together and celebrate the work we ready to do. As today now the day exactly radio democrats they look at the work we really don't do for national development so far now salon context for can talk on that one day we get to tweet the Deputy Minister of Information and Tamba, Lebbie, Electoral Faculty of Media and Communications now Frabe College. And then the program for talk about this topic here so today, and as we start the discussion as we can to the Deputy Minister of Information so far. Away from that one day the celebration we we get there as a country. Go back first now the Ministry of Information and start for update listeners but within the latest development so far now the ministry.
Thank you very much for the excellent question. In the Ministry of Information and Civic Education, as we all know, with the second coming of His Excellency, name Information and Civic Education, meaning a new mandate was added to the Ministry of Information. Civic education. Basically, now for let expand on the citizens' engagement, let us bridge the gap in communication between government and the people, and let us see how we provide timely information, cogent information to the people, so that rumors and other misinformation will be limited. We empower the citizens with the right information. We take government to the people and governance to the people. So basically, over the time, Madam would only expand on for see how best the people are informed about what government they do. And we have been doing that through our weekly, every Tuesday press briefing, which I would bring all journalists together and other stakeholders for let them talk on trending issues. So this is how we have been doing, and that is our signature activity for the way we deliver on we mandate. Behind the scene, we are also putting a lot of effort for do a lot of policies where we really make the media landscape viable and efficient. But what everybody know is that we have been very effective with our weekly press briefing. We don't make the people more informed this time than ever, and we are all very, very much proud of what we have achieved over this time.
As a government, you just make mention of the weekly press briefing with the Ministry of Information can get with journalism for tell them what we government don't do so far, and how don't go for cascade the information to the ordinary man. One medium with plenty time when I don't use for achieve that in the radio. And today, Salon the General countries around the world for celebrate World Radio Day, which means they watch at the gains we really don't make towards the development of the country. Let me go back from government perspective. What have you thought so far about the contributions of radio towards national development over the past years?
Okay, thank you very much. When you celebrate a day like this, you are celebrating the work and the intention of people before us. The effort when you talk about the first radio journalist, they say we always attribute that title to somebody called Hakim Maxim. And these are people who try to see how they will use radio as a way for communicate, for bridge the communication gap. In their own way, although it was very primitive in those days, with the advancement of technology, and I look at what they do, so now it is say we don't grow past that level. But that effort and consistency whatever we get for really broadcast news through that medium, now I don't use this dividend that today we sit there and we're very sure say whatever thing we say now, somebody somewhere is listening and it gets we. If you count now, we own context as a nation, and especially Usa as Sidon, 98.1 is an embodiment of what we call the relevant roles we expect the radio for play. One, for bridge communication gap. Two, public awareness. Three, shaping public opinion. Because 98.1, a radio station, we come into being in a very turbulent time when there was a siege on the people's will, when democracy was under attack and even the constitution was suspended. Then came fine gentlemen of this country. We know the relevance of communication, the relevance of being a citizen, a good citizen. It was not by color, it was not by tribe, it was not by political affiliations. That we just take and say, if democracy is under attack, constitution is being suspended, we can only bring back the legitimate government by keeping our people informed. So the Dr. Spencers, Ali Bangura, and Fuller and others, I think, opened this radio station with a call 98.1. And I mean, they always say, do good so that good may happen. In 1996, the late Tian Kaba pioneered an advocacy na UNAMSI for let open community radio stations because it see the relevance of communication. So when the atrocity happened before Salon now, 98.1 came, and we always be there alive during that time, know the role where 98.1 play for whole one, the illegitimate government accountable. If I not even recognize them, it continue for make sure say, even though Tijan Kaban government was dethroned, they were defunct in Guinea, but the work of 98.1 in promoting democracy and the rule of law, in informing citizens about their rights, in shaping the opinion, that it make we able to bring come back the people's power, where they be able to make Tijan Kaban come back. So 98.1 is a clear example of why a radio station is relevant in a society. If I should reference Thomas Jefferson in saying that a press without government or government without press, it say it would prefer a press without government. If I look at 98.1, then I will say perhaps now the reason that if things say it prefer a press without government, because at that time the legitimate government was not there. But 98.1, with the effort of Dr. Julius Spencer, Ali Bangura, Hannah Fuller, and in team, they're able to sustain government, even though it be Guinea, until ECOMOG able to restore that governance back to the people. Without that kind of effort where a radio station will make during that time, perhaps the illegitimate government for don't continue. But with 98.1, we're able to get confidence to say yes, that government will come back, they're able to continue for keep the citizens informed. So 98.1, you can just put a look at them, say if there's any reason for law get a radio station, the advent of 98.1 at a very crucial time is the more reason why we believe say radio plays a very crucial role in deepening democracy, in bridging communication gap, and in promoting civic engagement and education in our society.
Perhaps somebody will say that they don't be a very long term now because the war done, it don't pass. I mean, more than a decade now, the country they move steady, and that and the whole way why the station is just like to play in terms of maintaining democracy and rule of law. And we still continue to still in existence. What you will say again in terms of another roles them we really don't play for shaping the.
We are looking at 98.1 and what they do, and try for generalize within the role of radio stations. From that time, where they talk about Tijan Kaba making that advocacy to now, there are over 43 or more community radio stations. Now, only through these radio stations, even government, it will reach out to its citizens. Without these radio stations, whatever the government they do, it will reach people then at the far end of the country. So with the radio station, I am sure, even like once if I come here to talk about the government's Big Five agenda, I am sure it will get to the last mile. So over the years, the radio stations don't help the government for deep in democracy. The radio stations don't help government for bridge communication gap between governance and the people. The radio station don't help government for do public education in times of emergencies, disease outbreak, pandemics. These are the roles the radio station don't continue for play. It is the medium most affordable, most accessible than any other communication, any other media. The radio station don't last time, and everybody, now every corner, there's not a village will not get radio station.
Okay.
So you don't compare radio station to any other thing. Not every village gets TV station, not every village gets a newspaper they reach, but there's not a village will not get radio.
Okay.
So meaning the radio is more efficient, it is more accessible, it is more affordable, and therefore in efficiency for let it really bridge the communication gap is second to none.
Okay. In name na Bokare Abdel Aziz, Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education, continue for day with we in the studio. As we come to the other studio guest, we na James Tamba Lebbie, Lecturer, Faculty of Media and Communication of Rabi College, and also former commissioner na the Independent Media Commission. James Tamba Lebbie, today na World Radio Day, and you they come up from the academic background, you they come up from the academic field. Also, on the groom, on the terrain, also ensure say on impact student them for become journalists and broadcasters them na the country. That we look at the day and itself and the importance of the day, the World Radio Day from the academic background or field. What do you make up of this day?
Thank you again once more. Indeed, a very important day, and like you say in the intro, World Radio Day basically for raise awareness about the importance of radio, regardless of some challenges over the years, over the decades, some positive in terms of technology. Radio don't remain for be the most popular medium, a portable, and like the Deputy Minister say, immediate, accessible, and because of the accessibility, because immediate, and now because of technology, interactively, there is interactivity. So radio don't become, as I say, regardless of what's in the happen, radio don't become the most popular medium. And at the community level, it continue for be a platform for community engagement and community voices. So radio, yes, it's very, very important, and that we for recognize them because in terms of the role that we don't play cut across the media platforms, but specifically in terms of the role where the media for play, in terms of monitoring the system, the environment, and reporting, in terms of facilitating the work of both state and non-state actors, in terms of emergencies, in terms of collaborating with the states, like it happened in terms of Ebola, COVID, and now this new Mpox we don't come. You look at them, but also in terms of holding accountable radical media, the radical role of the media. The media continue for play, the radio continue for play a pivotal role, and regardless again of which in the happen, it continue for be the most popular medium because of in features them.
You mentioned say radio don't be over the years don't be the most popular medium in terms of passing information to people, and you talk about the positive and also the challenges. Don't start to look at the positive angle where radio don't play in terms of shaping the country democracy.
Well, in the context of Sierra Leone, we start radio journalism as far back as in 1934, and from 1934 to now, in fact, we know up to radio gain a dominance in terms of monopoly up to 1963 who get television. So fast forward to today, we got multiple platforms, but research don't reveal. The last research carried out by BBC Media Action is that radio remains for me the most reliable and the most popular medium. So it is research informed. But radio don't play a significant role. If you look at the country in topography, if you look at the literacy rates, if you look at the ratio in terms of urban and rural settlements of people, you go find out, say, the most popular medium or channel through which people they get information, either from state or non-state actors. Now radio don't play a role in terms of bringing people together when there are trying times, as the deputy minister make reference to that infamous 1996 coup by AFRC, sorry. After that, it was radio that we able to put people in hopes together to then restore constitutionality. Fast forward to today, no government's not going to succeed for driving agenda if you not engage the radio. At the urban centers, at the rural communities, radio don't play significant role driving development, bringing people together, holding leaders to account, but also in terms of education. And now you see educational media, then they spring out, they proliferate around the country. Traditionally, now 3-tier system of broadcasting day, but now we get a 4th one with our educational radio. So you get public, you get privately owned, you get community owned, and in Sierra Leone now we get educational radio. So across the spectrum, radio continue for contribute significantly in all areas, in agriculture, in education, in economics, in development, in everything. Radio is the leading medium.
Look at more issues go salon general countries in the world for celebrate World Day with the team radio and climate change. Now for this make the democracy been go work at the city for talk to people about voting, then think about the impact so far we really don't create now the society. For more on this, make we join Janet Masakoi.
Radio is fine. It can give you news what you know. But if you open radio, it can get important news there, like obituary. It's important. Sunday people go down there, but if you open radio, they meet up. Well, radio, even during the war, now they will be listening. Because during that time, they phone no day, like the media. So any side, people rebel reach. Una would they toya, we get radio, we go able see, maybe me, I can listen radio, me man, and then can call me for interview na through the Akino. So now, me I want let them still continue with the talk broadcast, but as well na the caller. You see, so now so I want let it continue. Well, we radio first 10 value and up to this 10 now value. Because media, they can able me I no can get time because I no go school. But radio, we put on they listen with it and they talk. See, so now value for now.
Well, radio don't do a lot of things in the country in the way that forgive some information maybe for how people are not aware of or distance. They make people not able to go know what happen there. But with the radio and listening, you will get more idea with for people inside there. And then they help great way really in terms of information, in terms of learning, and then they help really. In terms of this media and the radio, I look preferable for get a radio in your house or even within yourself, so that instead of that this new one we don't get. Because if you get a radio, you go just tune and listen to what they go on, and also you go know what they go within the country. New media get a negative effect where they get to with the young generation the way they come up than this radio also. Because if you look right now, this new media, if you go online and chat anything, you can just scroll on Facebook or this WhatsApp, you can see some pornographic pictures, videos that instead of this radio. Radio just to put it on, listen and forget about it. But this new media just they begin scroll and see things the way people say, "Oh, it not go help you for you go as a young somebody in our society."
Well, radio day is not good anyway, because we know they get the actual information what they expect people in the past on to we. It's quite different. Before we get the main source, but for now, wrong information that they pass on to the people. Well, we expect for Leone come into the old system back again for a pass on the right information. Then no they make the radio station there for your own self-interest. No, they make come for the people. So like for the pass, the right information. So that make the social media don't take up now the radio station they work. By then we expect say in a radio station they get authentic information.
It's good because one, it's pass on information. So things which some people don't know about. They only hear it from radio stations. Sometimes news about the country, so it's fine. Like Kingi, like important messages concerning like some people in the way he want give out messages like he contact school radio station, like radio station can announce funeral, something that if person die they can go announce on a radio station, they get information the way they pass through. So my advice is let them continue no more for doing a great job.
Well, to me understanding what I understand about radio, and I know say radio they pass out information to people and for let them know what they go on at their country. Because I whole now we all country.
John, my idea was of radio station for pass on correct information there to all the people in the country. Well, a great because it's like radio station say we say not to all man ki fortunate for the get TV station, but like radio station in general, like na Chinese radio gets cable so that you know any station we are in irrelevant to the country where they pass on correct and incredible information. Well, my advice I want to give to radio station owner there, they need for improve the frequency there. Because some area then the way you do, you need to get the station clear so that you want some corner because some information in there. So man, and they find out what's not the girl thing, they go to radio station at the end. You go to radio station back with the debunker. Say no, this is not right.
Welcome back to the program. Good morning, I come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. That now voice of different people across the country, and we will be talk to Radio Democracy, Janet Massacre, but we think about the impact we really don't make so far in the country. We'll come back to the program, Mr. Minister. We can't to you again. We don't hear the Vox Popul just play different opinions about the contributions of radio so far. What do you take?
Well, it just in line with waiting I talk and waiting Mr. Tamba Lebbie talk. For we society, I think we don't get major negative effects of the radio. I'm not saying it don't exist. We'll treat that under the challenge or the threat to the radio. But for the time being, I think we don't get more positivity about the radio or the work of the radio in our society, where like people they talk about informing the citizen, shaping their public opinion, trying for really during tough time, people their only access to information not through the radio because of inaffordability, because of able go na the last mile, somebody go there in farm radio the near they listen, but like they say, it go with a lot of expectations. They listen radio because they think say now they get the right information. Now they supposed forget what they believe in. And as a ministry, I think that this now they try for expand on. Now this now they try for get this efficiency in the media landscape now once. Because with the emergence of all we see in the media landscape in AI and other things, mis and disinformation is the greatest challenge posed to the media. So how do you combat this? You can forget preparedness. You can forget collaboration. For make sure say timely and cogent information meets people. When once you don't get that public trust, even when somebody puts misinformation out there, they will say no, this person not to it, or an area na radio, okay, or another area from the ministry, the press briefing. But if we lost sight of this, like where they say some radio station are lying in the middle. If we all go by that, the radio station deviate from what we expect of them, then they wouldn't fail the citizens, because it is the only effective medium for everybody. Because you don't get class, you're not going to write newspaper in Timini or Mende, or even the Mende man not going to read Mende newspaper. But when you talk Mende or Timini or local, that local dialect where somebody didn't inform, it gets everything. So that is why it has remained very effective and efficient for bridge that gap, for improved community education and other things.
In all of this, government will get important role for play. We can't pick one at a time, but one get for do with censorship. We over the past years, media institutions they complain say government can intend for censor them. How government able for like exclude itself from the operations of the media institution there also?
So I think the big elephant in the room was the libel law. Now this over the years, government they use for treating the media landscape. So for His Excellency, the President, somebody with a military background, boldly expunge the section, the Public Order Act, where be the criminalized libel. It means he has a commitment to free the space. And over the years, I don't think from 2018 to now, we get limited cases. Like I attended the last annual general meeting. I told them onto the Tamba there was no journalist behind bar for acts of journalism. That alone shows that we are committed to freeing the space for responsible and professional journalism. Over time, we don't get challenged. We are in a journalist use traditional and the new media at the same time. The traditional media is being regulated. It gets a code of conduct. So when you operate within that ban limit, it's large day for monitor this for determining the professionalism. We get IMC. But when the journalist wants, you see, don't ask 98.1 this and that, then you go on social media, you post something. The new media, when you use them, you get people bash you. Where government says they don't get control over. But it comes back to say, I don't talk this thing, government supporters, or this person is supporter, they don't come because you are using the wrong form. When you use the wrong traffic, you can meet up careless driver. And when you bank, you blame a traffic police. So our challenge is to make sure we remain professional, because the only side way government will regulate for now, even though we are working with SLASH and other relevant bodies for bring a new media act. But for now, waiting they exist as a policy now. The traditional media.
When you talk as it, Mr. Tamba, Lebbie serve the AC, and I think you want to make contribution towards
so
what you
let me just land. The traditional media is being regulated for we all, not just for politicians, for everybody where they operate at the traditional media, we are protected. But for the emergence of the new media, we not really get that kind of regulations.
Okay,
we are working on it as a ministry.
Okay,
for see how we bring the new media act, where they take all that into consideration.
Yes.
So these are the challenges we don't get. We can still say journalists are still being attacked by party supporters because you are using Twitter, you are using Facebook. Wait, that person back with it on Facebook, you just can't attack.
Okay,
you.
so we only the Mr. Tamba will come to ask you one for response to what the deputy minister they say, but Louis goes to the too quick and make this and take this commercial break. Who will come? You go make a contribution.
The program now, Good Morning Salon, they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. The program they continue with the council with other studio guests. We now James Tamba Lebbie, we now lecturer and the Faculty of Media and Communication Studies Department of Frabe College. James, at the time when the Deputy Minister be make a submission, see be they try for be they raise up, what he could continue.
So he raised a question about censorship. And the deputy minister will try for say because there's no censorship, and I agree with them. But there is, and then he talk about the criminal libel law. We don't go out from the law books, and I agree with them. But two things where I disagree is that one, there's what we call now self-censorship, and also when they take out the criminal libel law, they replace them with the cyber law. So what's the nexus now between radio, with a traditional media, and the cyber law in connection with self-censorship? So the new cyber law, it gets chilling effect on radio, even though radio is regulated. But increasingly, radio don't get digital footprint, and increasingly more radio they go online. So once you cross the line online, then you are bound to offend provisions. It is possible you go offend provisions of that cyber law. So yes, censorship no dey, but people dey fear waiting for say, and that also they undermine the ability for hold people accountable, especially duty bearers. So it's not visible, but there's a chilling effect with the existence of the cyber law, with the work with journalists can do. But of course, radio, I agree, and he highlights a lot of importance and the advantage where radio gets over other platforms. I agree. But also there are significant challenges as well.
Yeah, because that now my next question, because another concern where they come out from people now the emergence of the new media, where now the social media. Mm-hmm. Many people don't see the emergence of the new media, with social media, as a huge impact on radio. What's not a challenge in that area of the social media where things say don't become a concern to the operations of the radio stations then?
Okay, let's make this distinction. Why radio continue to be a resilient medium is that it's both popular and reliable. And there's a distinction between popularity and reliability. In social media, it's popular, but the reliability, it gets some deficiency. So now, coming to new media. Now, what's going to happen that in radio, you get this traditional setting of the gatekeeper and the media consumer. So it gets so that they organize content, and on an appointment basis, you get whether they consume that content. And when are the gatekeepers now control that power they they determine the appointments which we the consumer them. So this structure will not exist for long. And then social media come and disorganize that arrangement. So now media by appointment, quote unquote, it no longer exists. Now what's going to happen is that people in access content now on social media at a time of their preference. Appointments not again. But more importantly, traditional consumers of information in the context of radio don't become producers of information in the context of digital social media. So that arrangement done significantly altered. So Adika, the other thing is trust issues. Now, as much as digital media very popular increasingly, but not still popular reach radio, because as the deputy minister said, the radio bring equilibrium in terms of access to content. To access digital media platforms, it gets a lot of prerequisites. But to access radio, it's relatively easy. I mean, regardless of the language they speak, even though even digital media also can break that barrier there. But then it's relatively easy for access radio content compared to digital. But the reliability side of them, very, very important, because you get a group of people who then trained for access, gather information, process the information, and report the information. That arrangement's not in a digital media where every consumer is a producer of information. So you don't have to be a professional. You just can grab once long. You get a phone, you get a camera. You can take any content and report it out of context. In radio, most times you have to report in context. So by extension, the digital platform will become also a platform of misinformation and disinformation and creating chaos in society. But now you find medium, that said.
So at this point, what do you think the gatekeepers they need for do for ensure say they continue for make a radio become that public trust?
So go digital. If or accept say social media platforms, they're a reality and it's here to stay. Try to get a footprint in the digital space. So for give you an example, radio democracy. Now, radio democracy, if you go and I believe on they online also.
Yeah.
So without your digital footprint, you get for make an appointment 7:30. So 7:30 every day, Monday to Friday. The gatekeepers then get for process this program, and the consumer get for wake up 7:30 for access this program. Also, now the kind of audience they already get now, so many things don't take their attention. You can say 7:30 are lazy, are still want sleep. But if we're able to say 2:00 in the afternoon and go online and still access Radio Democracy then program this morning,
okay.
If that's not the happen, then radio they become less significant. But once you get digital footprint, and now people able to access content at their own time and not the time of the gatekeeper, that's very important. Then you continue to become relevant.
As the world continue for go, we don't we're inside the 21st century now. Important for make media institutions change the way they operate.
Absolutely.
When it's very important.
Absolutely.
So I asked the question briefly before we take another report inside the program. What are your observations so far about the content way radio stations they put out in recent times?
Well, comparatively, I'll put it in context. Comparatively with digital media, radio stations still continue to be popular and be reliable, because as I say, you get an identified group of people and way you call them professionals, where then they access the information, gather the information, process them, do some verification and put it out there, compared to digital media where anybody can just take any picture anywhere and post them.
So the content will they produce as a radio station, is it up to date, like these people really want for say at the moment?
Some improvement on there, but there is room for more improvement. There is room for more improvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
James Tamba,
both in terms of content and in terms of technology.
Okay.
Come to again, Deputy Minister. Earlier on the program, we don't talk about the contribution, and it's good that he build the premises on the contribution so far the democracy to be specific don't make for the development of the nation, for ensure say they're able for strengthen the country democracy, rule of law. And later on the program we don't talk about how government able for excluding itself and allowed free media for operate, which to a certain extent Mr. Tamba Lebbie operate. Been the try for interjecting, make your own contribution to the one day. As we move forward with the program, we not get much of a time again. Whose comment you go on for make with regards to government, policies, going ahead for enhance the operations of the radio stations?
Thank you very much. Like we, Mr. Tamba Lebbie say, he is or was part of IMC board, and me, even the existence of IMC to monitor the radio is a restriction, it's a censorship. You understand? But these things exist so that at least we keep the media houses relevant for the existence of the state. So if we IMC in the ministry where we divide assignments, me directly the superintendent IMC. If you agree with me, say last year they even tried for deregister some media houses where they say no, they even register from where they register wanted, they know they owe to the commitment. But I had to call the chairman. If we try for free the media space, then when they deregister media houses, it means we go head on with a clash on the intentions. So to me, if we think that they produce the content is not inimical to the state, I prefer for Leone and maintain a call them to a table and let them try for regularize them when I deregister them. That is still to show our commitment to free the space. The existence of cyber law, we pull the Public Order Act and bring the cyber law. Also, that's not for we no more as politicians. Why are we seated here? It is because we allow ourselves to go through rigorous processes. We train, we shape, we for there. So if somebody also want to be a practitioner in this field, he also need for do they under some code of conduct. So if there's a code of conduct for the traditional media, with the emergence of this new media, if something or they when a check, I believe it's me and you now, all that repetition we don't build over the years, somebody will just try for damage them. With time, we are working on a lot of policy for address this new media. The new policy, they even take one of the threats posed to the radio. When I find out one of the greatest source of income adverts before now, but that even is being swept now by the emergence of the new media, and there are no advert policies on advert. The new media policy, they can now also for protect that landscape fauna. So as a government, our intention is not to muzzle, but also you not go pay attention too much to the content of the container than the container itself. What make we Sierra Leone? Now we will sit down here. So if we allow people for just do waiting, they bring down Sierra Leone, they will not be relevant. All the laws that we put together not going to mean anything.
Okay.
Why are we investing on the new public interest media? It's because we want to capacitate. Why, as a ministry, even last year, we sent people from community radio stations to China for training them? It is because we want to capacitate, because of what we believe the radio is doing in enhancing our democracy.
Okay.
But that being said, if we just lost sight that this new media pose a threat, and until we all agree on how to control the new media, and I see recently, my minister came under a lot of bashing from people who call themselves bloggers. They say we not recognize them, this and that. Whether it was a misinformation or misunderstanding on we position on which we call blogging. But when it comes to the media, it is the ministry that gets the bashing. So we have to control what they come out from the media. Not that we want to determine which one they do, but for create a safe space for we all as citizens. Because for be lawless, everybody sit on if you determine one day say I want to be lawless, you'll be out there. But waiting Mr. Lebbie, they do what they do, not just because we don't train ourselves.
Okay.
Not so somebody don't go use that as an advantage because in lawless for just bring down you. When I pass, I see myself as that teacher now vying this and that. I don't get anything where they hide.
Okay.
But we have to protect our sovereignty. The constitution also mandates that our privacies should be protected.
Okay.
So we are not doing anything unconstitutional. The cyber law is a check for this emergence of the new media. Until we get away from regulator, we all be free. Then we'll say now, okay, what do we do to the cyber law?
Okay.
That is why most times these things are reviewed.
Okay.
And it not just come into being. It go through a lot of consultations with SLAG. We all agree, say, okay, from now, as we expunge it, let this exist.
Okay.
So it is not a threat, it's not a censorship, but it is a protection also of the citizens of this country. Okay. So my own comment, perhaps if I'm not given the opportunity,
you still get the opportunity for make contribution at the program. Continue for the week. Okay. Name Nabokari Abdel Aziz Bayoh, Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education. Continue for the week at the program as we take one power headline story. Then the founder and program director Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary Bala Amara Sankare say inside the next 2 months it go close Takugama if government not show commitment for protect the forest where they host this sanctuary. They talk this inside one interview with Radio Democracy where they talk about in concern for sake of the way people don't they brush, build and spoil the forest where they host the babu them. They talk more to Musa Kamara inside this interview.
We want to say sorry, as a technical team they try for bring up that material, but as they wait for make the material go come up, we can't again James Tamba Lebbie for make you contribution towards what they discuss now. So again, we hear within the deputy minister say but policies they put in place where perhaps some not reach in parliament and some we already don't pass. We not take again as media experts them in terms of putting government actually they do for protect radio stations or save the traditional media as a whole. As we see throughout the discussion, we all only make reference in the new media, which are the social media, like threats to radio or traditional media.
Well, threats, I think for put into context, threats in terms of the audience segmentation we create, threats in terms of advertising revenues, but also me feel say it push traditional radio for on their toes for come up to speed in terms of how then they disseminate information. That traditional model of radio putting out information has to be modified and move with the times. It creates competition, no doubt. Me not see them as an adverse threat in a way. Even though also as the deputy minister allude, now a platform for this information and dissemination. But me concerned about the word control, quote unquote, where the deputy minister they use. I'm comfortable with them because the media should not be controlled, and in fact, new media cannot be controlled. If anything, free speech is guaranteed by the Constitution. Freedom of expression is guaranteed by countless international, regional, and instruments, not least the African Charter on Human Rights, Human and People's Rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Civil and Political Covenants on Civil and on Human Rights. All ends in the guarantee freedom of expression. Yeah, But I also cognizance of the fact say there are limitations to that freedom, and that freedom also go with responsibility. But as I say also, what's not happen over the years because of digital footprint, which now in reality, and everybody, this is here to stay. We have to accept it as a new phenomenon.
Okay.
Yeah. The government got for their own tools for send their own narrative out. I think muzzling the media, social media, it paints the government in a negative light in some way. So basically, more training, but also they on its tools for put out your own narrative. So if we're able to counter the narrative, and not say because they're not they put out within the government or why therefore they control them. That's not the way to go from the perspective.
Okay. Well, now time for make we look at some of the messages them we don't come now the inbox, and we they go now we Facebook page when start for look at some of the messages them we don't come now the inbox. Jallo.
This first text message I would take from the comment section of Radio Democracy Facebook page from Lolo. They say, Happy World Radio Day. Indeed, radio has played pivotal role in shaping narrative. As we celebrate this, let's reflect on how emerging technologies can further enhance these connections. How do you envision the future of storytelling in digital age?
This one from Mystic Nadwazak say the people of Fodesoi and Kama Fair should see themselves as one family irrespective of their differences. Burning houses is not a solution. They have traditional leaders to report to.
This other comment from Facebook page, they say, Mr. Tamba, Lebbie, think say the social media don't pass radio because now easy way for make all man know current happenings. We radio pass you get transmitted them, but social media now just data and network.
Jallo, continue for
this other person from a comment section again na Facebook page. They say, thank you, Mr. Aziz Bayoh, Deputy Minister of Information. Your explanations are very explicit, comprehensive, and superb. You made my day, sir. And this other person also, they say, clever contributions from a clever minister, and indeed we need a free law-abiding media. Thanks, Mr. Bayoh.
This one from Tunde Scott said the influence of traditional media is declining in Sierra Leone, but also the US and other countries. One of the main reasons for the rise of social media here is government trying to get control of most of the media houses there.
This other person, they say, as a religious media follower in Sierra Leone, I want to use this medium to wish all radio workers happy World Radio Day. This year team says it's all radio and climate change. Radio stations should give more attention to climate change issues, especially when our environment is prone to many dangers as a result of human activities. We then text messages and they will come back to the studio. Guest them will start with you, the Deputy Minister. So far, you take us with the close the program now.
Okay. First and foremost, one, I tell the texters plenty thank you, and that is why we, as government, we believe in radio. Because when you sit here, you interact with people there, you debate issues. Like one person where they say government they try for own media houses and I make the new media they spring. That's an opinion. You can put to test as hypothesis. But what I want to say, if there any media house where we as a government for own 98.1. 98.1 came into being when SLPP government was ousted. But from when we come back, we free we have. We're not supposed to say when I know say SLPP has nothing to do with 98.1. So that is how we are operated with the media landscape. We're not getting any media we'll say that we own this and that, or else the content of 98.1 could have been censured by government. Because now doing with time, it came into being. Now doing Pakaba in time. But we believe that it was not because it played a role with our owner. Let's say Citizens Radio. So we can return it back to the people. They continue to do that the way they do for you. What did they do for you? Any other government for benefits from them. So we just believe say if you do good thing today, tomorrow you benefit from them. So we not own any landscape. All what they do as a government is for make sure say we all as citizens. If we put any regulations that for protect we self as citizens. It is not because I'm a politician or that I don't get anything. Somebody can just attack me anyhow. No. These laws put here, even when you go to IMC, the institution where they control the media, most of the representations wey dey na slash nominees. Na only one person dey comot from the ministry, but the rest of mankind wey dey na slash nominees. So we no wan get control. But again, when we compare ourselves to the great America, America takes stages for let reach outside ideal. Stages. Our democracy is young and needs to be protected. If there's no Sierra Leone, there will be no democracy. There will be nothing. So the first thing we need for protect is Sierra Leone. America, when they begin allow even women for vote or blacks for vote, so their democracy have come through sedimentations for let it reach outside day.
Okay.
As Sierra Leone, as small as we are, third world country, if we say what America they do, we start for one now. We not get what it take for protect we as citizens from waiting them be don't protect themselves from. So we go get there. That is why over the time, even when we are working on the new media, it's to broaden the space.
Okay.
So we will not get any attention from most of them.
Okay.
We just want perfect the landscape.
Okay.
The use of control perhaps could not have been, but as Steve things say, that landscape for be protected for we all Naya. Let them operate freely, minding the fact that we always don't Naya. We are citizens and we should be protected.
Mr. Bayoh,
that's just why we do these policies.
It's probably regulation more acceptable than control.
Mr. Bayoh, we will find time. We will go for inviting us to talk more on this issue. In name of Bokare Abdel Aziz Bayoh, Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education. Plenty thank you for where you take your time for be part of the program today. Will they come over to the other studio guests? We are James Tamba Lebbie for making a response to the messages that we come for them.
Yeah, I think the key one, as somebody say, if me not feel say social media don't surpass radio, I don't know whether now in terms of popularity or in terms of reliability. But me, I go and see the data. The last report I read, radio is still the most reliable and popular medium. The last reports I read, I go and see the data where they say social media don't beat radio. That said, social media gets a tremendous growing popularity, especially with a certain demographics. I think that will go put that into context. Social media, they appeal to a set of demographic, a particular demographic. Radio, a cut across. And you get for also look in a specific context like the location. Are we talking about the urban cities? Are we considering the rural communities? Also, internet's not a challenge. So I make us say I go and see the data before I say social media don't beat radio. Okay. That said, radio popular, reliable in terms of access, a portable, and now a platform we create an equilibrium, but it don't come under severe challenge. Like we say, advertising income has been threatened. The more radio stations we get, the more the audience segment, the more the advertising revenue drop. And what can also assist us make the situation more worse. Now the fact that we get social media where people now can prefer bypass the radio and publicize, they call adverts. Once you not pay for them, now publicity. It can then they do publicity now and less of advertising. So these are the challenges them. And of course, now a tool. It don't increasingly also don't become a tool of misinformation and disinformation. But compared to social media, there is some form, an appreciable form of decency in radio compared to social media. Social media now everybody's place, now everybody na producer, everybody na consumer, which is not the case in radio.
Well, we have to apologize to the studio guests them that we're not going to continue this discussion because of time. And earlier on will be get Bokare Abdel Aziz Bayoh, Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education, and also James Tamba Lebbie, when a lecturer, Faculty of Media and Communication at Abbey College, and former commissioner of the Independent Media Commission, as they don't take me through the importance of radio and also the impact of radio they make in the country as today now World Radio Day. Well, for that now, so we go also this edition of the program Good Morning Salon go left for today. Plenty thank you to studio guest them as we don't mention earlier.